So, this is remote learning for Monday, February 15th. One of the things that we're going to be going over here is we're going to be going over the discussion questions. So, it is going to be your job to fill this in. If you already turned it in and you can't edit it, if you unsubmit it, let me know. I can help make a copy for you or make a copy yourself, okay? So I'm gonna kind of go through the questions with you, and we'll answer these together. I feel like this is important to know this stuff for Act Two, so that way you're ready to go, and then you have correct answers for the final project because that's going to be important as well. So this one is all Act One, and the question is, what does Willie feel a person needs in order to be successful? And one thing to think about is the difference between Willie and Charlie and Bernard and Biff. So I'm going to go to that scene. Let's see. I'm looking for there. There we go. So this is in the scene of the first flashback. And one of the things that they're talking about is Willie is talking about his dreams. And someday I'll have my own business and I'll never have to leave home anymore. Like Uncle Charlie, huh? Bigger than Uncle Charlie because Charlie is not liked. He's liked, but not well liked. And then we cut to when Bernard comes in and Bernard leaves. Willie goes, Bernard is not well liked, is he? And Biff goes, he's liked, but he's not well liked. So we have this idea of being well liked. And if you're a salesman, that makes sense. You're usually not going to buy a product from someone who you don't like. You have to like them. And so this is what Willie says here. I went too far. All right. That's just what I mean. Bernard can get the best marks in school, you understand? But when he gets out in the business world, you understand? You are going to be 5 times ahead of him. That's why I thank Almighty God you're both built like Adonises. Because the man who makes an appearance in the business world, the man who creates personal interest, is the man who gets ahead. Be liked and you'll never want. And so when we're talking about this area here, it is being liked. It's looking good. It's, if you be liked, you'll never want again. And it all resorts to, and the question is talking about, in order to be successful, what's the whole point of being in business? For Willie, it's money. And so, and we know that if we go back to the first time that we talk about money is right here, and this is on the first page, or one of the first pages of the play. This is talking about Biff coming off the train, and Willie here says, when the hell did I lose my temper? I simply asked him if he was making any money. Is that a criticism? And so everything's about money. It's always going to be about money for Willie, and in order to make money, you got to be well liked in the business world. You have to look the part. You got to have people like you, create some personal interest, those kinds of things. So in order to be successful, you got to make money and you got to be well liked. All right. What are some ways that Happy tries to get noticed by his parents? And then second question there is, how can Biff do no wrong back in high school? So let's start with this first one, and I'm going to there we go. So this is the first time that we hear this phrase, I'm losing weight. You notice, Pop? And then second time, again here in the same scene, second time. And then I lost weight, Pop. You notice that's in the second flashback with Uncle Ben. And then so that is up in, okay, so there's at least 3 times where he's let his dad know that he has lost weight. Now, the other time that I think that a lot of people put down, and it definitely works here, they're talking about marriage here in the beginning. In this part here, Happy is talking about how he is the girl that he was with that night. Was supposed to be engaged to be married in 5 weeks, and then And then this part, like right here. Um, I don't know what gets in me. Maybe I just have an overdeveloped sense of competition or something, but I went and ruined her, and furthermore, I can't get rid of her. And he's the third executive I've done that to. And then I go to their wedding. So, again, needing some attention. Remember, Happy is a guy who can't get higher in his job unless someone dies that's ahead of him. So, that's kind of where this comes from. And then at the end of this part right here, I'm getting married, Mom. I wanted to tell you. Go to sleep, dear. Now, this whole conversation has been about Biff. And Biff going to Bill Oliver and, and what that looks like. Willie's giving him advice. And everything's about Biff. And even down here, Willie here says, keep up the good work. Happy exits. And then Willie goes, God, remember that Ebbets Field game? The championship of the city? I mean, he's talking about Biff here. And he is so infatuated with Biff. Biff is the oldest one. He's the one that was supposed to be a star. And he even, let me go back up. He says here, a star like that, magnificent, can never really fade away. He'll be great. Yet, he's still focused on Biff. And Happy is trying to get noticed. Happy is trying to get some attention because it's about Biff. Everything is about Biff. So I feel a little sad for Happy, but then he goes and does things like sleep with other people's fiancés, and it's like, maybe not so much. And the second question is, how can Biff do no wrong back in high school? So this is in that first scene. Let me see if I can find the word football. All right. Biff here says, see, did you see I got the new football I got? Willie asks, where did you get a new ball? The coach told me to practice my passing. That's so, and he gave you the ball, huh? Biff says, well, I borrowed it from the locker room. And then laughing with him, I want you to return that. I told you he wouldn't like it. Well, I'm bringing it back. And then Willie says, sure, he's got to practice with a regulation ball, doesn't he? Coach will probably congratulate you on your initiative. No, the coach will yell at him for stealing a football. Like, it's stealing, and Willie's okay with Biff stealing here, and he encourages Biff to steal in the second. Flashback scene with Uncle Ben. He says here, oh, sure, there's snakes here. Why, Biff can fell any one of these trees in no time. Boys, go right over there where they're building the apartment house and get some sand. We're going to rebuild the entire front stoop right now. And so Charlie, the neighbor, says, listen, if they steal any more from that building, the watchman will pull the cops on them. And Linda, don't let Biff. And so Biff is like, Willie's okay with him stealing lumber and stealing sand and from this next place because it gives him a fearless character. As you see right here, that's what Charlie says. And then Ben then calls him a nervy boy, and Willie says, oh, he's got nerves of iron. That's really good. So a lot of just, it's okay to steal because it's showing nerves. It's showing courage and determination, and it's showing initiative. The idea of, if you want it, just go and take it. And that's what Biff's doing here with the footballs and the lumber. And that's what Happy kind of does with the woman that he sleeps with. Another one up here is with Bernard. Let's go see if we can find the first part here. This is the part where he has to study with Biff, and because he's gonna fail. He's gonna fail math. Mr. Birnbaum has said that he's gonna fail math, and Willie doesn't really care. He says at one point, "You better study with him," but then he says, he's more fascinated with Biff printing on his sneakers the University of Virginia logo, and he is, and then right here. What are you talking about? With scholarships to 3 universities that are going to flunk him? So he's not too worried about it. He's not too worried about it. He's not stealing anything, and he's not gonna fail. And he's more worried about is Biff well liked? He's the leader. The girls are following him around the high school now. That's what Willie cares about. All right, let's go to this first flashback scene in Biff's conflict when it comes to success. And so this is on pages 10 through 16, and you're going to look at those two big parts where Biff is talking. It's up just a little bit more. There's Happy's big line. Let's find Biff's. All right. So Biff here says, Hap, I've had 20 or 30 different jobs since I left home before the war, and it always turned out the same. I just realized it lately. In Nebraska, when I was herding cattle, and the Dakotas, in Arizona, and now in Texas. It's why I came home now, I guess, because I realized it. This farm I work on is spring now, see? And they've got about 15 new colts. There's nothing more inspiring or beautiful than the sight of a mare and a new colt. And it's cool there now, see? Texas is cool now, and it's spring. And whenever spring comes to where I am, I suddenly get the feeling, my God, I'm not getting anywhere. So really quickly here, one of the things that we can talk about here is the fact that it's springtime. And with spring usually brings new life, and it brings in the new colts, and it brings in the new crops and flowers and grass and trees and things of that nature. And so it's full of life. And that's kind of what gets Biff on this feeling that he is not getting anywhere, because it's springtime usually represents and symbolizes new life, and Biff's still doing those same kind of jobs. What the hell am I doing playing around with horses $28 a week? I'm 34 years old. I ought to be making my future. That's when I come running home. And now I get here and I don't know what to do with myself. So he has this, I mean, there's this struggle, because as we have seen here, he likes being outside, and he wants to work outside. He wants to work with his hands. He wants to work with animals. He wants to, bee farm, ranch, and, do those kinds of things. But then this line right here, what the hell am I doing playing around with horses $28 a week? He's still focused on the money. And I mean, I think I would be too if I come home for the first time after a year, and one of the first things, my dad would ask me is, how much money are you making? And I think there is this idea of, it is about how much money you make, especially when it's a kind of job like working on a farm, working on, a ranch, those kind of things. My brother just got a new job, and the first thing I asked him was, oh, are you making more money then? And I mean, I probably should ask someone like, oh, do you like it there? Or, do you like this new job? But instead I asked, how much money you making? We focus on money. And so Biff's got this conflict. Do I do a job that I love? Working outdoors, working with my hands, being a carpenter, a cowboy, people that can whistle outside, people that can go for a swim, or do I do something that I don't fit into, which is the business world? I'll make more money, but he just doesn't like it. And again, that's going to be a conflict in your own lives. Do a job you love versus doing a job that gets you more money, but you might be a little more miserable at your job. Next one here. What are some exaggerations Willie says about himself to Linda and the boys? All right. So this is in this first flashback scene. This is kind of the big one here. So Willie here says, I did 500 gross in Providence and 700 in Boston. And I mean, he even tells this to his boys up here. Knocked him cold in Providence and I slaughtered them in Boston. He didn't, though. He made okay money, but he didn't knock him dead. And so that I think that's the biggest one. And he's talking about, up here in this part where his boys are just listening to him. They are, infatuated with their father here. They love their father. They're hanging on his every word. Talking about how he met the mayor of Providence in a hotel lobby. Why the mayor is in a hotel lobby, I don't know, but probably not, the best idea here. Or probably not the right idea here. He's probably full of crap. He's probably, telling a good story and making himself out to be, the hero that he really wants to be for his children. So those are kind of the big ones about how much money he makes and how good of a salesman he is. And it's interesting because I think in current day, like, both his boys kind of know this. They know. Oh, I should have known. Let's see if I can find it here real quick. Let's see if I can find it. There we go. I mean, this is at the very end of Act 1. This is when they're about to go upstairs and say goodnight to him. I mean, selling man, that's what I call it. Well, let's face it, he's no hot shot selling man, except that sometimes you have to admit he's a sweet personality. So, like, his kids now know, like, maybe he's full of crap, but back in that time when they're in high school, they're looking up to their dad so much, and he is perpetuating that story. They know now, years later, that he was full of crap. On pages 37 through 43, this is the problems that Linda and Linda are experiencing. There's two main ones. One, they took him off his salary. So again, Willie is only on commission. So he only gets what he sells, or he only makes what he sells in commission. And so he's been there for almost 36 years. He's opened up unheard of territories, and they take his salary away from him. So, but I mean, I guess, if you're going to counter that, if you're a business and your salesman isn't doing that great, I mean, this is some motivation to make him do better, and he's costing you your company money. I mean, it's business, I guess, And then the last one is he is trying to kill himself. And remember, there's two ways that he's been trying to kill himself. One is by crashing his car off bridges and stuff like that. And the other one is huffing gas from the water heater in their basement. And so those are the two kind of big trouble things that they are facing there. And then the last one here. So remember, a symbol is an object that you can touch, it's tangible, you can see it, whatever, that represents something that you can't. And I think this one is kind of important because the question is asking what they symbolize to Willie. So when Willie sees these things, when he thinks about them, what is he thinking about? And the first one here is stockings. So let's search for the word stockings. So this is where she's starting to kind of put her stockings together. This is the woman that he's cheating on Linda with. She says, I love a lot of stockings. He gives her some. Thanks for the stockings there. And then he comes back to the present day where she is mending. She's fixing up a pair of her own stockings. So just imagine you're Willie. You just gave your side chick a pair of brand new stockings. You then kind of snap back to reality and there's your wife of at least 18 years, and she is, instead of having new stockings, she has to fix her own. So to Willie, that probably is a whole lot of guilt. That is probably a whole lot of infidelity, cheating. Um, and that's what it reminds him of. So when he thinks about stockings, he's probably thinking about cheating, probably feeling a little guilty about it, those things. So yeah, I would probably have like cheating, infidelity. I would probably have his affair, however you want to, his guilt, however you want to look at that one for stockings. Next one is diamonds, and I think this one's a pretty easy one, just simply because it's diamonds. Let's see here, and this one is actually up in the second act. So let's go find. Let's look for just the word diamond. There we go. You guys, there was a man that started with the clothes on his back and ended up with diamond mines. And then and he's talking about Ben, how Ben found diamond mines. And I think anyone, when they think of diamonds, they think of money. They think of success. They think of riches, those kinds of things. So diamonds to Willie probably represents, having money, being successful, those kinds of things. The fact that he doesn't have it anymore, and I really like that last one that I just showed here. Whatever happened to that diamond watch fob? The fob is like the inside of a watch part there, that Ben gave them, and then he pawned it, so he sold it for Biff's correspondence course. So again, kind of using all of his money to try to make Biff successful. It's just not working. I don't know if Biff wants to be successful or not. And then Alaska and Africa. This one is about Ben. And let's look at the first time. So I got an awful scared. He hit a kid at Yonkers. Okay, so he's talking to Happy here. And he says here, God, why didn't I go to Alaska with my brother Ben that time? Ben, that man was a genius. That man was success incarnate. What a mistake. He begged me to go. And so I think for him, for Willie, Alaska and Africa kind of represent opportunity, or missed opportunity in this case, because it's a regret, those kinds of things. That's what this means to Willie here, because Willie regrets not going, because if he was in Alaska, he'd be making a bunch of money. If he went with his uncle or with his brother in Africa, he would have diamond mines. And so Willie is almost regretting not going with Alaska, and we'll actually see a little bit more of that in Act 2, in a different flashback. So I will just see more of that. But I think Alaska, Africa is opportunity, or missed opportunity, when it comes to Willie. And that is it for your questions. So make sure that you fill this out. I'm expecting you to have this done, turn it in, and we'll go from there. If you have any questions, let me know. All right. Have a good Monday.